Hey everyone, Caleb with Antique Book Collective, and today I'm getting to you guys with an interesting question, and that is, should I expand my niche or niche beyond what I'm currently in for my eBay store or for any store in general? And at the end of the day, that question does come with a lot of caveats, So the biggest caveat is, well, how much do you know about this thing that you're trying to expand into? If you don't know anything about it, then I would highly recommend that you do not expand your eBay store yet. If you don't know much about your niche that you want to get into, even though you know a lot about your first one, you should wait until you know a thing or two about this new niche. That way you know what your customers will be asking. You'll know, like, let's say you are selling, let's say, dogs. You'll know what breed your dog is. You'll be able to learn what the health issues are with your dog, what if they're good with kids, if they're smart, all these sorts of things. You'll have to know these things before you try selling these things if you want your customers to think that you are reputable and know what you're doing and know that they are getting their money's worth when they're buying from you. So, with all that said, for me, as you guys know, I sell antique books. I sell a lot of antique books. That's the main part of my business. Of course, I do sell other things beyond just antique books. I sell vintage books, and I sell also some newer books. Not a whole lot, but some newer ones. But I saw a really good deal, and I decided to hop on it. I thought I knew enough about it that I could make some more money on it, and, well, it didn't quite work out, or at least it hasn't worked out quite yet. There are a lot of items that I've had on my eBay store over the years that I have bought that are not books that I have to sit on for a little bit before I have a sale. Other times I buy these things and I sell them lickety-split. So for me, this thing that hasn't done very well for me just yet is I went to Dollar Tree one day and I was buying some things for the book business, quite a few things actually. Dollar Tree, guys, if you guys don't go there for your book business, go there. You can find a whole lot of things that can help you either clean your books, preserve your books better, store your books, all sorts of things. So, for example, I've mentioned this, in previous videos. And it's the fabric totes. I use these fabric totes for my antique book business. I keep my books, not all my books, but I keep some of my books in there for like the mass market paperbacks and other books that I don't care a whole lot about. I keep them in the totes because it's really easy for storage. But back to the knives, those totes I get at Dollar Tree. But back to these knives, I was like, oh, Dollar Tree, it's a boatload of knives. They had quite a few, so for me, when I can find quite a few of the same thing, I actually like buying it, even if it doesn't meet my specification of how low I like to go on prices. So for me, those knives, well, if I could find like 40 of them, I'd be like, okay, 40. If I do make $1 a piece, that's $40. If I can do them all in the same listing. For me, I found a few more than 40. As you guys saw, that tote was to the stinking brim. I mean, it's quite a few quite a few knives, and for me, I know enough about knives that I was like, okay, so this checks out. Like, all the stuff about it looks like it's a pretty good knife. I fiddled with it a bit, and it's like, okay, this is a good knife. This is something I would actually sell. So I bought quite a few of them, and I made listings for them, and I believe I'm not the lowest price for them on eBay, but I am pretty low. And honestly, though, I didn't just buy these to sell right away. One of the big things that I bought these for was to have like ready for Christmas time and Black Friday and all that sort of stuff, which was when I was hoping to get most of my sales. So by the time that I'm filming this video, it's not Christmas time just yet, but it is something that I am hoping will do pretty well this Christmas. With everything going on, I think I have a pretty good deal. Pretty good chance of doing pretty well with it. No guarantees, but I am doing this all on my same eBay store as what I do my books on. So it's sort of funny because you see my eBay store and it's like, oh, here's an antique book and this one and this one and this one. Oh, and here's a newer book, here's an older book, all these sorts of things. And all of a sudden you have a giant listing of like a boatload of knives. So it's like, this is interesting. This has nothing to do with what I normally do, but we'll see if it does pretty well. So I just thought that would be an interesting thing to share with you guys for what I'm personally doing. So with all that said, so why did I decide to expand it into knives? So again, as I mentioned earlier, it's because I know a thing or two about them. I know more about antique books, obviously, but I know enough about knives that I'm dangerous. It's like, okay, I know that stainless steel makes a pretty good blade. Not necessarily the best blade, but it's a good, versatile, all-around blade. So this one here, it says it's stainless steel blade. Stainless steel, guys, it's nice because it doesn't rust and it keeps a pretty good edge. Not the best edge, but it's pretty good. And it just is a good size knife. And honestly, when I got it, I was thinking, well, maybe I'll have it be a edition, like a free edition that I throw in with some book sales, book sets that I sell. So for example, I recently bought a boatload of bow hunting books, and I think there even was a magazine. I'm looking at where it is. There might have been a magazine in there too, but bow hunting, it's like, yeah, I could throw in a knife with that just for anyone that might be interested. So that is something I'm thinking I might use these knives as like a nice little bonus for some people who buy certain things. Like obviously a knife has absolutely nothing to do with most antique books, but there are a few things that I sell. So it is something that I did not just purchase exclusively to try to sell, but also maybe to be like, oh, this is a cool little addition. Of course, it's not necessarily the best edition to have. Like, I think something that might be better is bookmarks. Bookmarks would make a whole lot more sense. Honestly, I could probably do pretty well doing bookmarks. It'd be, honestly, now that I think about it, it could be cool to do a bookmark that looks like the spine of a book, like especially an antique book. Like, let me just check something. Do I have any cool antique book spines? Oh, I don't, but that's a bummer. But you guys know the ones where it's like a leather cover and it has like the gilded text. I think that could make a pretty cool bookmark to have, so maybe I'll do that in the long run. But there's a lot of things that you can do to supplement your business. Maybe I could sell those bookmarks, or maybe I could just have them for free in all the different books that I sell. So really complicated thing, but at the end of the day, guys, when you are expanding your business, sometimes you can't expand just in your niche. So for me, antique books, I ran the numbers a while ago, and I was actually telling my dad about it. I was like, yeah, so I'm thinking that if I was to do this business like full-time, like full-time, so there's normal full-time, so like let's say you work at a corporation, you'll put in 40 hours, but full-time, when you're a self-employed person, that's more like 80 hours. So like if I did 80 hours a week in this business, I was telling my dad, I was like, I could probably, if I really was good, and with what I find at current estate sales and whatnot, if I really went all out and committed my entire life to this, I could probably make 2.3 million. And that was just based off of all the numbers that I've run over the years. I'm not going to walk you guys through those numbers, but I was like, yeah, I could probably make that much. And yeah, those are some pretty good numbers. A lot of that would be profit. So for me, eBay takes out, I want to say I get to walk away with a little over 70% after all expenses are accounted for. So 2.3 million. Let me just run the number really quick. And then times that. I said I got to keep 70%. Sorry. Math. I did 80% instead of 70. So if I was able to keep that, that's 1.6 million that I get to keep on just profits. Of course, then I have to pay taxes on top of that. So let's just be conservative on what I have to pay in taxes. So after taxes, let's say 40%. I'd be able to keep just shy of $1 million a year, which is pretty stinking good money. A lot of you guys would probably be very excited about that. However, I have to say there's no guarantee that you're going to make $1 million a year in this business. In fact, I would almost guarantee that you will not, because for me, where I do my business, where I shop for all my books, all that sort of stuff, there's almost no one buying antique books. The only people that are buying books where I live, and I'm not saying there's a few, there are probably at least 10,000 other people buying and selling books. But almost all these people are focusing on newer books that they can scan with just their barcode scanner. And these people are just burning through all those books, going through all those books, taking all those books and selling them on Amazon or whatnot. And they're leaving antique books to people like me that know antique books well enough to be like, yeah, you guys can hang out with your little peasant books and make $20. I'm going to make $700, you know? So that's something like for me that I personally am into, and based on my experiences with my market, I know that I can get enough books to probably supplement at least $2.3 million worth of income. I also explained to my dad after that, I was like, but there's only so much that I can do with this business, because all this driving that I would do for this, it would take me all the way up to Seattle, all the way down to Northern California, possibly even to like San Francisco, also like more central, but still technically Northern California. And then all the way over to like Idaho. Like it's a big swath of area. It'd be a lot of driving, and it'd be a lot of time. It'd be a lot of gas. It'd be a lot of effort. And that's one of the reasons why I don't do that business like at that scale. In addition to that, I just have other businesses that I focus on that will be making more money than that in the future. I know that sounds a little pompous, but I got a lot going on, guys. Don't worry. And as I say in other videos, I am very into economy stuff and all that sort of stuff. Honestly, one of the things that I'm getting into is gold. I'm working on a gold mine, so that's one of the reasons why I'm moving to a small town. So let me just look really quick. I put away that book. I'm sorry. So, excuse me really quick. So this book right here, here's a different book. This one, it's on stamp collecting. I believe it was worth like $40. And then, see this little vial right here? So, I'm sure you can't even see it, but there's a little jiggle. That's this little thing. This is full of gold. Not all the way full, but like, there's a tiny bit, and this tiny amount of gold right here, this is worth $5, whereas this is like $20. And look at the size comparison. Like, if I had a bar of gold this big, that'd be, I'd say, well over $1 million. Maybe just shy of it, but it'd be a lot of money, you know? So it's one of the reasons why I'm getting into gold is just that whole side of things, plus a lot of other things. Found a gold mine, all that sort of stuff, getting ready to start that. But that's just something that I am personally getting into because I can see more money in that than I can in this business for the amount of time that I put into the gold mine as opposed to this. For me, that is not anywhere related to the eBay business that I run, though. So for me, I do expand it into different niches that are not eBay. I expanded into all these different businesses. I have quite a few businesses. As I've mentioned in other ones, I write books. I do this. So obviously I do a whole lot more things, and that's one of the reasons why I personally am willing to expand from antique books into selling knives. It's a fun little thing. I like experimenting with different things. I'll find what works best for me on this or on this. One of the things that I've talked about with my family and even on this channel, I've talked about, there's a time with my antique book business that I was like, okay, I need to learn how to repair books as well as I can. So to learn how to repair the books, I had to learn how to do book binding. Through my book binding, I was like, I could totally see a market for doing handmade journals. So I actually I manufactured my own handmade journals. I got to the point that I could probably make, if I was doing this full time, just the handmade journals, I got to the point where I could make around $120 an hour making handmade journals. And that would, of course, be a lot of work. It was a lot of fun to do as well. I did some pretty beautiful journals. I might show you guys them in the future. I actually have a stack of them still over there, and I have all the makings to continue making them because I do enjoy making them. But I don't sell those anymore because I was like, well, there's not enough money in them. I now just have them basically for business expenses, like to keep track of things because they are beautiful journals. But they're not something that I sell anymore because the amount of time, it just was not worth my time to do because, yes, $120 an hour, that's some fan-stinking-tastic money, but at the end of the day, there's just enough other things that I want to do in my life, and I'm young enough, I got a lot of things going on, and it's not something that I could see being a sustainable thing into the future for me to do myself. Of course, that's not saying that I don't plan on resurrecting that business sometime in the future. I think it's a really fun business. It was really rewarding to make them, and they're really pretty. Like, honestly, guys, I'm looking at them over. I got a pile, as I said. They're really pretty to look at, but just not my thing. So all that said, though, I really want to share with you guys that your niches that you expand into, they don't have to be anywhere related to what you're doing, but they do have to be related enough that it's something that you know about. So yeah, that might be, for me, I sell books, so book binding is a logical progression, but for me also the gold mine has nothing to do with anything that I do. The knives has nothing to do with anything that I do, but I still expanded into these things, not just for my eBay store, but also just in general because they are things that are interesting to me. They're things that I can see myself making money in, and honestly, they're things that I'm passionate about. For me, I'm passionate about knives, I'm passionate about gold, I'm passionate about antique books. It's just all stuff that interests me that I'm passionate about, and at the end of the day, though, guys, it's not just about things being related, it's about your passion, because if you're passionate about it, you're going to pursue it, you're going to do it, no matter what anyone says. And that's honestly one of the keys about being successful in running your own business is you have to be passionate about it. You have to be able to say no when someone tells you no. Be like, no, I'm not listening to you because you're wrong. You don't know anything about this. Unless, of course, they do. But, it's fun because you guys can definitely learn and expand and get into what you really are passionate about and want to do with your life. So I hope that was able to help you guys. I know I went into a little bit of philosophy and other things beyond just saying, should you try a new niche? But I hope it really got you guys thinking about all the things that you can think about and do with your new businesses. So back to what I was saying about making new niches, something that I've talked about several times with friends and family and all that is, for my antique book business, something that I've thought about is, I'd love to start scanning all these antique books and make PDF versions, republish some of these, because a lot of these are out of print. The author's long dead, and the copyrights are no longer viable. So it's public domain books, so you can actually legally copy down all of this, republish it, obviously give the author credit still, but you can do all this stuff and make some really good money republishing all these books. That's something that I've wanted to do for a while, and it's something that I still might do. And it's beyond that, I've mentioned, hey, I would like to make my own boxes for my antique book business, because current boxes, yeah, they're good, but if I did this and this and this, I can make the boxes better for my antique book business. There's a lot of things that I personally, I'm always thinking, I'm an entrepreneur, you know, I'm always thinking about how I can improve things and how I can make money doing things. So that's just things that I expand on top of onto my business. So again, I hope that helps. I hope that explains a few things. And if it doesn't, I'm sorry. If it gets you thinking about things that you should get into, but you know you didn't want to get into because it's going to waste time, but it's going to be fun, I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry. And I really hope, though, guys, that this inspires you. I hope that it makes you think, I think it's high time that I started selling, let's just say, butterfly eggs or something on my eBay store, because, like, it's something I like. I hope that you guys just really learn to make some good money with things that you want to do, that you've always wanted to do, because at the end of the day, it's a free country, it's your life. Do what you want, sell what you want, and have fun doing it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Please be sure to comment, drop a like, and watch one of my other videos. I'll see you then.